Good morning, class. Let's continue with chapter number 1, Evolution and Fundamental of Business. We'll start today by trading communities. So, during the ancient India, Punjabi and Multani were the merchant in the north region, whereas Bhatts was the traders in the Gujarat and Rajasthan, and in the western side there were group of Mahajans, and Chhat were the important traders from the south. In the urban centers, which were the main trading centers, Ahmedabad, the Mahajan community collectively represented by their chief called नगर सेठ. उनके जो हेड है उसको उस समय नगर सेठ कहा जाता था. And other urban group include professional class like hakims, ved, vakil. Teachers were called pandit or mollas, painter, musicians, calligrapher, etc. So these were the main trading communities in the ancient India. Then merchant corporation. Merchant corporation is like association of association of group of people for promoting the business and trade. Like हमारे अभी भी एसोसिएशन है फिक्की, जो हमारे इंटरनल ट्रेड को प्रमोट करती है. तो दिस इज़ अ एसोसिएशन टू प्रमोट द ट्रेड. The merchant community has also derived power and prestige from guild, which was the association, which were autonomous corporation formed to protect the interests of the traders. जैसे trade association होती है. These corporation organized on formal basis framed their own rules of membership and professional code of conduct, which even the king was supposed to accept and respect. तो ये जो एसोसिएशन है वो अपने बेसिक रूल्स फॉर्म करती थी. उसके मेंबरशिप राइट्स कैसे मिलेंगे आपको, उसका प्रोफेशनल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट क्या होगा, वो फॉर्म करती थी. इवन दी किंग्स ऑफ दैट टाइम यूज्ड टू रिस्पेक्ट दैट whatever the decision is given by the merchant corporation. Industry, taxes and trade that time was the major source of revenue. Trader has to pay the octroi duty. Octroi duty is when you move your goods from one place to the other place, one city to the other city, then octroi duty is levied on most of the imported article at a varying rate. They were either paid in cash or in kind. Even that time custom duty has to be paid. So custom duty varied according to the commodities and tariff varied from province to province. कि क्या ड्यूटी चार्जेस लगेंगे वो डिफरेंट प्रोविंस टू प्रोविंस वेरी करेंगे. Even the ferry tax was another source of income generation. Like if we have to pay the tax for the movement of passenger, goods, cattle, carts, and the right to receive the labor tax was usually transferred to the local bodies. Then the guild chief, like president of the association, dealt directly with the king or tax collector and settled the market toll and behalf of its fellow merchant at a fixed sum of money. So क्या टैक्स पे करना है तो वो सीधा जो प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द एसोसिएशन है दे यूज टू डील विद द किंग और द टैक्स कलेक्टर. द गिल्ड मर्चेंट ऑल्सो एक्टेड एज कस्टोडियन ऑफ रिलीजियस इंटरेस्ट. They undertook the task of building temples, made donation to levy a corporate tax on the member. The commercial activity thus enabled big merchant to gain power in the society. तो इससे since they used to pay the donations, तो जितने भी big merchants थे उस समय के they gained the power in the society. The next is major trade centers. They were all kind of towns, like there were port towns जो shore area के पास है, manufacturing towns, mercantile towns, pilgrimage towns. So the following were the trade centers in the ancient India. First is Patliputra, known as Patna today, it was not only a commercial center but also a major center for export of stones, precious stones. Then Peshawar, it was a important exporting center for wool and for the import of horses. And the major commercial transaction between India, China, Rome was undertaken through this port at that time. Then Takshila, that was the major land route between India and Central Asia. It was also a city of finance and commercial banks, financial and commercial banks, and was also a Buddhist center of learning. And the famous Takshila University flourished there. Then Indraprastha, it was a commercial junction जहाँ से नॉर्थ साउथ ईस्ट और वेस्ट के मेजर रूट्स कन्वर्ज होते थे. देन मथुरा, it was a emporium of trade and majority of people were surviving on commerce. Many routes from South India touch Mathura and Bhuj, which is now in Gujarat. Then is Varanasi. The city of Varanasi were well placed as it lay both on the Gangetic route and on the highway that linked north with the east. It was a major center for textile industries and became famous for beautiful gold silk cloth, sandalwood workmanship, and it had linked with Takshila and Bharuch. Then next is Mithilia. The trader of Mithilia crossed the sea by boat through the Bay of Bengal to the South China Sea and traded at the port of the island of Java, Sumatra and Borneo. Mithila established trading colonies in South China and especially in Yunnan. Next is Ujjain. Agatha, carnelian, muslin and mellow cloth were imported from Ujjain to different centers. It also had trade relation throughout the land route with Takshila and Peshawar. Then is Surat. Surat was famous for zari borders. So it was the emporium of western trade during the Mughal period. Textile of Surat were famous for their golden border called zari. It is noteworthy that Surat Hundi was honored in far off market of Egypt and Iran also. That means जो हुंडी सूरत की होती थी वो इजिप्ट एंड ईरान में भी क्रेडिट ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए वैलिड होती थी. नेक्स्ट कांची. It was here that the Chinese used to come in foreign ship to purchase pearl, glass, rare stone, and in return they sold gold and silk there. Then Madura. It was the capital of Pandyas who controlled the pearl fisheries of Gulf of Mannar. It attracted foreign merchants, particularly Romans, for carrying out overseas trade. The next, Bharuch. It was the greatest seat of commerce in western India. It was situated on the banks of river Narmada and was linked with all the important marts by roadways, which is somewhere near Gujarat now. Next is Kaveri Patta. It was scientific in its construction as a city and provide loading, unloading and strong facility of merchandise. Merchandise is goods. Foreign trader had their headquarters in this city and it was convenient place for trade with Malaysia, Indonesia, China and Far East. And it was famous center of trade for perfume, cosmetics, scent, silk, wool, cotton, corals, pearl, gold, precious stone and also for ship building. Next is Tamrapati. It was one of the greatest port connected by sea and land with the west and far east. It was linked by road to Banaras and Takshila. Then what was the major item of export and import? हम यूजुअली जो एक्सपोर्ट करते थे दैट यूज टू कंसिस्ट ऑफ स्पाइसेस, wheat, sugar, indigo, opium, cinnamon oil, cotton, parrot, live animals, animal products like hide, skin, fur, horn, tortoise shell, pearl, sapphire, quartz, crystal, lapis lazuli, granite, turquoise and copper etc. इम्पोर्ट क्या करवाते थे हम? Horses, animal product, Chinese silk, flax, linen, wine, gold, silver, tin, copper, lead, rubies, corals, glass, amber, etc. So these were the major products which used to be imported and exported at that time. Now, position of Indian subcontinent in world economy. India is estimated to have largest economy of the ancient and medieval world. The country was often referred to as Swanbhumi or Swandeep by various foreign travelers like Megasthenes, Fahian, Huensang, El-Biruni, Ibn Battuta and Frenchman Francois. These were some famous travelers of that time. Then in the pre-colonial period in India was the age of prosperity for Indian economy, and European embarked great voyage of discoveries at that time. Initially they came to plunder, but soon the reward of trade in exchange of gold and silver. Initially they came for the purpose of looting India, but they realized they can get the reward of trade in exchange of gold and silver. They can exchange that and get some good products from India. But despite growing commercially, India that time was technologically backward as compared to Western Europe. India was far behind Western European in technology, innovation and ideas. And with the increasing control of East India Company causing lack of freedom and no occurrence of agriculture and scientific revolution, limited reach of education to masses, population growth, preference to machine over manual skill made India a country which was prosperous but people who were poor. So India as a country were prospering, but the people of India that term was still poor, despite there was a lot of commercial activities was increasing that time. The British Empire began to take roots in the India in the mid 18th century. The East Indian Company used revenue generated by province under its rules for purchasing Indian raw material, spices and goods. Hence the continuous inflow of bullion that used to come on account of foreign trade stopped. तो इन ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने क्या किया कि हमारे ही प्रोविंस से जो रेवेन्यूज जनरेट हो रहे थे उसी को वो यूज़ कर रहे थे टू बाय द इंडियन रॉ मटेरियल, स्पाइसेस एंड गुड्स. तो हमारा जो फॉरेन ट्रेड से पैसा आ रहा था इंडिया में दैट स्टॉप्ड. And this changed the condition of the Indian economy from being an exporter of processed goods to the exporter of raw material and buyer of manufactured products. Then as India began to re-industrialize. After independence, India went for centralized planning and the process of building the economy started. So India started with first 5-year plan which was implemented in 1952. Due importance were given on the establishment of modern industry, modern technology, scientific institute, space and nuclear program under the first 5-year plan. And despite this effort, Indian economy could not develop at a rapid pace. Lack of capital formation, rise of population, huge expenditure on defense, inadequate infrastructure were the major reason why India could not develop. And India got majority of fund from borrowing from foreign sources, and because of that they finally opened to इकोनॉमिक लिबरलाइजेशन इन 1991, बिकॉज हमारे कंट्री में हेवी बोरोइंग्स हो चुकी थी, इंडिया ने काफ़ी बोरो कर लिया था फॉरेन मार्केट से, बिकॉज ऑफ विच दे हैव टू ओपन द इकॉनमी फॉर लिबरलाइजेशन इन 1991. The Indian economy is one of the fastest growing economy in the world today and preferred FDI destination today. Rising income, saving, investment opportunities, increased domestic consumption and younger population ensure growth for decades to come. And India also launched new program like Made in India, Skill India, Digital India, new foreign trade policy was rolled down between 2015 to 2020, which expected to help economy in terms of export and import and trade balances. And what was Make in India policy? Make in India is an initiative launched by Government of India on 25th September 2014 to encourage national as well as multinational companies to manufacture their product in India, कि वो अपने products India में produce करे. The major objective behind Make in India initiative was job creation and skill enhancement, and 25 sectors were open for Make in India, which were automobile components, aviation, biotechnology, chemicals, constructions, defense manufacturing, electrical machinery, electronic system, food processing, information technology and business process management, leather, media and entertainment, mining, oil and gas, pharmaceutical, port and shipping, railways, renewable energy, roads and highways, space and astronomy, textile and garments, thermal power, tourism and hospitality, and wellness. So these 25 sectors were made open for Made in India program. With this, we end our session today, and this is end of the chapter number 1 also. Thank you.